Hello, I'm Marcia Ogden. Welcome to my podcast, Directory of a Dream Life 50 Plus. It's for anyone who's passed that milestone, like me, by a long chalk, and who, like me, has realised that we could be on this earth for another 30 or 40 years. So let's plan to make the rest of our life the best of our life. Before we get started with this week's episode, can I just remind you to please review, share and subscribe to the Directory of a Dream Life 50 Plus podcast on whatever platform you're listening on. And if you do want to plan to make the rest of your life the best of your life, take a look at www.googleit.com/my-best-life and find out more about My Best Life Journal and workshops. Welcome to episode 49 of the Directory of a Dream Life 50 Plus podcast. This one's called Get Comfortable Being Uncomfortable. In the UK, we are just approaching week 6 of the coronavirus quarantine. I know it's slightly different for everyone depending on where you are in the world, but hang on in there. My guest this week is Robin Joy Meyers. Now, by profession, she's a molecular geneticist. I can't even say it. The reason that I wanted to speak to her is that she is also a FEAR strategist. And I thought that would be very relevant, bearing in mind the unknown future that we're all facing at the moment. Anyway, you can hear what she had to say in just a moment. But first, as you know, instead of a handy life hack, whilst we're on lockdown, quarantine, whatever you want to call it, I'm collating information that I find in the newspaper and on social media about how to make the most of this very strange period in our lives. So each week that we're in this situation, I'm trying to bring you the best ideas to keep us productive and, of course, entertained. This week, if you're following the government guidelines and you can avoid using your car, I've got you 5 tips for keeping that little car in peak condition. I think we all know that not using your car for a period of time is bad for its health. And I'm no mechanic, so I can't tell you why we should be doing what I'm going to tell you to do. It's just advice. Actually, I saw a meme on Facebook that made me laugh. It said, "I love my car. I'm getting 4 weeks to the gallon at the moment." So here are my 5 car tips. 1. Go back to basics. From time to time, turn the engine on and let the car get to temperature. Drive it a few yards if you can. Number 2. Don't leave the handbrake on. I can't understand that one, to be honest, but I've seen it repeated in a few advice columns. Number 3. If, like my husband, you have an electric car, or a milk float as we like to call it, leave it unplugged with a charge of around 80%. It'll lose charge very slowly, so just top it up as and when needed. Number 4. Do not use your electric car to jumpstart a petrol or diesel car, as it will fry your electric system. And don't attempt to jumpstart your electric car battery. Number 5. Even if you don't wash the whole car, do keep the windscreen and windows clean, as a layer of dirt can quickly form, making visibility poor when you are able to drive again. The main source for my information here was the Telegraph on Saturday the 26th of April. I can vouch for that last one. I drove my car yesterday for the first time in about 2 weeks. And yes, there was like a really grimy film on the windscreen that took ages to clean with the washers. So maybe I should take a leaf out of my own book and just get out there and wash the windscreen. This conversation with Robin was recorded a couple of weeks ago. Here she is. My guest today on the Directory of a Dream Life 50 Plus podcast is Robin Joy Meyers, who is from Virginia in the US. Hi, Robin.
Hi, Marcia. How are you?
Good, thank you. You're a fear strategist. So
I am.
what is a fear strategist? And how can your services help us in times like this?
So I guess I'm more apropos than ever, really. But so as a fear strategist, I am a coach, right? But I call myself a strategic coach. And so my background is science, molecular genetics, and I discovered a gene in fruit flies, which has to do with flight. But I want people to know that through that science background, I've done many things, but through that science background, fear is real, right? That's not a choice. Yet society, and now we can talk worldly society, has always made it this negative thing, right? It's an emotion that should just stop us. And so, frankly, that's wrong. Like, it's kind of a myth that society has given us, because yes, it's an emotion, it's a response, but it's a true fact. It's a scientific fact and response. So I want people to understand the science of fear and what happens with the science of fear, that the response happens. Like, you have no choice. Fear is a real thing. The choice is how you respond to it. And the choice is that it wakes you up. It makes you very present, as we're all learning how to be right now.
Yeah.
And how to respond and realize that it's really a very positive thing.
So it's not, because I suppose fear is regarded as a weakness, isn't it? But
it is. It's regarded as a weakness.
Yeah.
And getting a little further into the science, like cortisol, which is one of the hormones, the more fear and anxiety kicks in, the more that level of hormone is raised, which only ignites shutting down and anxiety increasing. So you really have to learn how to understand what it's all about. And we're not taught that. We're just not taught to understand it.
Yeah. And if you do understand it, can you control how you respond to it then?
You can. And so as the strategist, my goal is to give like true science-based strategies and tools on how to understand how to control mindset, how to know how to set a morning routine, and how to understand how mindset equals productivity, and then understand how to understand what those triggers are. So when the day seemed like it was going to go all great and it doesn't, how to get yourself out of it.
When you coach people, are you coaching them about mindset in general, or they come to you because they have got some irrational fear that they want to overcome?
So I guess the overall arching thing people come to me with is they're going through some sort of transition, and it's typically women, and it's typically this age group. Life has changed, right? So either our relationships have changed, possibly with a spouse or other. We're taking care of our parents now. Our kids have grown. We're empty nesters. And especially as women, we've been caregivers all along. And so what have we not done for ourselves? Answering the question, who are we and what am I going to do? And looking at 50 plus as kind of a gift. I lost my mom when she turned 53 and I was 21. She died of cancer. So when I turned 53, I figured this is a gift. I mean, this is like a real wake-up call to figure like I have an opportunity here. And so
I mean, this is how Directory of a Dream Life 50 Plus came about, because a lot of people my age, I'm 59, is it tomorrow? It's some day this week, I can't remember. Nobody knows what day it is, do they? But I know it's my birthday this week.
Happy birthday.
I know people who are sort of, can't wait to retire. Well, what are your plans? I'll just be happy. But why will you be happy? Well, I just will be, because I won't have to go to work anymore. We've never sat down and thought, well, what does make us happy and What are you going to do for the next 30, 40 years? It's not, 60 isn't old like it was when I was a little girl.
It's not at all. And it's getting to know yourself, right? And because we've changed. I mean, hopefully you've changed, because it's fact of life, otherwise we'd really be boring. But you want to change, you want to grow, and why not kind of experience what you haven't experienced? And so it's learning who you are. It's getting really honest with yourself. Are you happy? And knowing you have the power to make the change. Might be uncomfortable, but we have powers. That's all neuroplasticity. It's all being able to create new patterns in our brain. But it's just getting truly honest with ourselves and trusting our intuition and saying, this is what I want. And you deserve to do it, and be patient that it's whatever you're choosing is a new skill. So it's like the very first job that you walked into that, yes, you were qualified, but you had to learn it. You're doing the same thing, doesn't matter what age.
Yeah. And I like that you say, I think I read it on your website or in an article or somewhere, that fear is your superpower.
I believe it is.
Yeah, I love that. But it's stepping outside the comfort zone, to put it into sort of everyday terms that we're all familiar with. It's just taking that step to do something different, something that does blow your mind, isn't it? And seeing what's on the other side.
Yeah, be uncomfortable, but listen to it, because it's telling you something, right? So be smart and listen, but it's making you tune in, right? And it takes courage. It's not easy. Do you stay kind of status quo and define safe? Some people just say, oh, but I'm safe. Well, are you happy that way? Like, you have to be able to define what you want.
Yeah.
But I think age is just a number. And I think, we could do anything at any age.
Yeah. I do want to tell the director of A Dream Life 50 Plus podcast listeners that Robin fairly recently gave a TEDx talk. Now, please tell us, bearing in mind that we are now in the middle of this coronavirus situation, tell us, Robin, what your TEDx talk was about.
So the title of my TEDx talk was The Science of Loneliness and Isolation. So
she's a prophet as well.
Someone actually asked me that on a show last week, I think. I think it was last week. I'm totally losing track of time. But no, I'm not. But it affects us no matter what. So, loneliness and isolation. And I was really good at isolating myself. But it's very apropos right now, that's for sure.
Yeah. Would you be able to give us a link to that talk?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's only 7 minutes, 7 and a few seconds. And Ted actually pulled it up to main stage, probably because it's a topic of the century right now.
Yeah, the one more relevant than yours.
Yeah, I mean, it talks about neuroplasticity and how we can rewire our brain and create new patterns and habits. And that's why you hear that 21-day cycle and a lot of challenges, 21 days to do this.
Yeah, to bed in a new habit or.
So, and sometimes it takes more than 21 days. But my what I like to tell people is get comfortable being uncomfortable, because our brain is really smart. So it's going to talk to you. It's going to tell you, like, why do you want to change that? You've been fine all along, but just trust yourself that you're doing something different, and just sit with it and trust it.
Yeah, new things, new way forward, new person. I think we're all going to be new people after this, aren't we?
I think we are. I think we're all going to be a kinder, gentler world.
Oh, let's hope so. I don't know whether you know, but I ask all my guests, well, apart from one or two who've slipped through the net because I forgot, but I have a question that I ask my guests, and that is, if you could meet the teenage Robin now, and she could see you and where you're at and what you've done, what's one thing that she would be very proud of? And what's one thing that she might say, I wish we'd done that differently?
That's a great question. Well, let me just preface that by saying I do think things happen for a reason. So all those things that I didn't do, I guess led me to where I am. However, to answer your question, I think she would be very surprised and very happy, proud, however you want to say it, that I finally used my voice. I was so quiet and shy and so introverted, like scared of my own shadow, pretty much.
Right.
But I think she would have said, I wish you trusted yourself more, because the instincts were there, but I was such a people pleaser and so afraid to disappoint my mother, my father,
Me
my
too.
teachers,
Yeah.
that I put myself just last. I just wanted to make sure that everybody, their impression or whatever was what they wanted of me.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think there's a lot of that around our
Yeah,
generation, really.
I agree.
I'm very similar to that, I have to say. What kind of coaching are you offering at the moment? Do you have online coaching?
Yeah, I do have, I do a lot of one-to-one. I do some business to business stuff in groups. Mainly I do one-on-one right now, and it is via Zoom. Even my local people, it's via Zoom because
Yeah.
we're all locked away. So,
Yeah.
but I have clients around the world, and you can find it on my website, a description. And my website's robinjoymeyers.com, and it's Meyers. But I offer everyone a discovery call.
Right.
So if you go to my website, you can go to my calendar, and I rather talk to you first and see if you have a limiting belief or a challenge, or there's just something you want to talk about before. There's no commitment at all. It's just I'd rather get to know you first.
Yeah.
So, but I do one-to-one coaching. I do retreats, which unfortunately are on hold right now.
Right. Oh, I wonder why.
Yeah.
It's frustrating. That's what upset me the most at first. I mean, all my family are self-employed, so seeing stuff that you built up and worked on for ages just being shut down or
Yeah.
shelved, it's heartbreaking, isn't it?
Yeah. So some of the stuff is switching. I was going to do an in-person summit, so now I'm going to switch it to online, and so that's all coming together. But
Yeah.
it'll be on my website. That's probably the best place to link to my TED Talk and my Facebook and all of that.
Oh, right. All of those are on the website. Yeah. Oh, well, it's been absolutely lovely talking to you, Robin.
So nice talking with you too. Thank you.
If anybody does want to talk to Robin, now is the time to do it, because there is no time like now for self-reflection and looking at where you would like to be.
And that's the good of this, right? It's like you're forced into a staycation. So think about it,
Yeah.
Think about where you are, what you want, where you want to go.
Thank you so much for your time today. And
Thank you.
keep in touch as well.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you. I hope you found that interesting. As Robin said, links to her work and her very relevant TED Talk can be accessed through her website, and there's a link to that in the show notes. Last week, I invited you to join an online control alcohol experiment. Now, it started on May the 1st, which was yesterday, if you're listening to this on the first day it was broadcast, but you can still join in. So I've put the link in the show notes again. If you've ever questioned whether you drink too much, I'm sorry, but the fact that you've asked the question would suggest that you do. And this experiment could change your life. And now it's quiz time. Yes, there does seem to be a car theme running through the handy hints and the quiz question this week. I don't know why, it is just coincidence. The answer to last week's quiz is on the buses. If you want to know what the question was, well, you'll have to listen back to episode 48. Here's this week's question. Which car manufacturer had models called Dolly and Charleston in its range? Remember, no Googling, and I will give you the answer next week. If you're not convinced yet that journaling can change your life, or perhaps in these very strange times of lockdown, you're just on a really strict budget, well, guess what? I've published the Directory of a Dream Life 50 Plus My Best Life Journal onto Amazon Kindle at just £6.97 UK or $7.99 US. Because obviously, having published the Directory of a Dream Life 50 Plus My Best Life Journal, I am going to keep stressing the benefits of journaling. And now, do not tell me you haven't got time. My journal is a year long. It's undated, so you can start it when you want. And the pages are big, so there's lots of room for a reflection and planning. And it's not just a diary or a planner, it's a place to write your thoughts and work on breaking bad habits and developing new traits and skills. And as I say, at £6.97 it's a snip. If you do still prefer the actual hardback edition, you can take advantage of my friends and family discount price of £23 rather than the advertised £33. All the links will be in the show notes. Thanks for listening this week. Remember the deal I offered on my Best Life Journal. The link is in the show notes, and even if you had never before thought about keeping a journal, just the very weird position that we're in at the moment gives us another reason to need to write everything down. Who knows, you can probably sell it as fiction in a few years' time. Do look after yourselves, and if you need a bit of company, don't forget that you can catch up on all the previous Directory of a Dream Life 50 Plus podcasts. Stay safe, and if we've learned anything by our age, it's that nothing's forever. These are just very, very weird times. I'll see you next week. The Directory of a Dream Life 50 Plus podcast is created and produced by me, Marsha Ogden, and it's available on several platforms, as well as via our website. So please keep listening and tell your friends all about it. Do follow us on Instagram and Facebook too. You'll find all the relevant links in the show notes. Directory of a Dream Life 50 Plus is about making our life happier and easier. So if you do have suggestions or if you'd like to be a guest on the show, just drop me a line at marsha@googlit.com. Have a fantastically happy week, and I'll see you next time.